Hi everyone, my name is Kartik and my channel is about mental models. In this video I'll be talking about the thought experiment mental model. A thought experiment is defined in Wikipedia as a device with which one performs an intentional structured process of intellectual deliberation in order to speculate within a specifiable problem domain about potential consequence for a designated antecedent, or the other way around. This is a very heavy and very full-on definition, but simply put, it's about speculating both forwards into the future and backwards into the past. There are 7 styles of thought experiment. 5 of them can be explained by a footballing example. So let's say we have a penalty. So this is my 6-yard box, this is my 18-yard box, and here we go. So let's say we have a penalty, and this is my fantastic goalkeeper. Right, so the first style is, what will be the outcome if the penalty is taken this way? That's simply the first one. The second one is, let's say the penalty was scored. So the first one is just a straightforward outcome. The second one is, let's say the penalty was scored. And it was scored because the goalie dived in this direction. And so the second style is, what if the goalie dived this way, and that would lead to a different outcome. So the second style is suggesting if the outcome would have been different if something else were to happen. So it's a changed event producing a different outcome. Okay, so number 3, the third style. Let's say again the penalty was taken in this direction, the goalie dived in that direction, in the opposite direction, and we scored a goal. This third one is saying, even if, so it's similar to the second one, even if the goalie dived in this direction, the penalty would still have been scored. So the third style is suggesting the outcome would have been the same even if something else were to happen. So we have a changed event again, but we have the same outcome. Okay, so let's look at number 4. The fourth style is suggesting is, let's say we have a penalty that was taken. So we forget about the direction for the minute, but let's say the penalty is awarded at 60 minutes. And the match score is 0-0. This style is suggesting what would be the outcome if the penalty was taken now, i.e. at 60 minutes, but also what would be the outcome if the penalty was taken 30 minutes later, i.e. at 90 minutes. with the score again at 0, 0. So it's predicting both what's happening now and in the future. So the fourth one is about prediction, and it's about predicting or projecting the circumstances of the present into the future. So the circumstances at 60 minutes at 90 minutes, because that's towards the end of the game. It could be the last kick of the game, and therefore there could be different nuances at play. The fifth style, so all of these four we're looking forwards. The fifth style is about looking backwards, and it's about taking a step-by-step approach to get to the root cause of the current situation, which is the penalty. So in this case, we have our penalty, and the penalty was, let's say, given because of a rash challenge in the box. And so that's one reason, that's one cause. But if we look further back, it could be that there was a terrible back pass, which meant there was a rash tackle that took place, and therefore a penalty was awarded. But then we could go a little bit further back and say, well, why was this terrible back pass? What was the result? Why did this terrible back pass happen? And this was, let's say, because a player was putting pressure on the defender, which led to the back pass, which led to the terrible back pass. So here we are speculating the root cause of the penalty from the events that have happened, and this is what this fifth thought experiment is about. So I'm just going to put backwards here. Number 6 and number 7 can be explained a little bit differently. As I said, there are 7 styles. Number 6 and number 7 can be explained a little bit differently. The sixth one is very simply simulation. And so we have, let's draw it on this side, we have an event that leads to an outcome, and after this outcome you run a simulation which generates a simulated outcome. And the idea is that we test the validity of the simulation by considering both outcomes are the same. So if both our outcomes are the same, we know that our simulation is valid, and if they're different, then our simulation is not. So that's number 6. And the 7th one, I'm just going to call it mechanism, and I'll explain this with a different example. So number 7 is about establishing a specific future state and to work backwards from that future state to create a mechanism of getting there. So an example of this is, let's say, today. So this is number 7. So today we are a manager in our company, and in a year's time, in the future, when the promotions take place, we would like to be a director. And so this is our future state. And so what steps do we need to take to get from where we are today to here? So it's about moving backwards, step by step, from the future goal, which reveals essentially the mechanism. So this is today, and this is where we are, the manager. Moving step by step backwards, which reveals this mechanism of the steps we need to take. So A, B, C, D. to get us there into the desired future state. So this is the mechanism, and so these are the seven styles. There are also 3 examples which I wanted to share, and the first one is something called the Laffer curve. I'm running out of room, but the Laffer curve is simply a curve which looks a bit like that, and it suggests that there is a tax rate. So this is the tax rate. There is a tax rate at which maximum tax revenues can be made. Now, this can't be observed directly, and it can only be estimated. And as you can see, that's percentage, that's pounds. There is no labelling on the axes. This is a thought experiment because it allows us to speculate on the tax rate that may provide a higher tax revenue. So whether we want to sort of increase the tax rate or reduce the tax rate to get to a theoretical maximum. So that's the Laffer curve. The second example is a story called The Lady and the Tiger. Now, in this story, an accused person is put on trial to see if they are innocent or guilty, and this is determined by the accused choosing one of 2 doors. Door 1, door 2. Now, behind one door is a lady, and behind the other door is a hungry tiger, and if the accused person chooses the tiger, then they are guilty. This is a thought experiment because the author does not reveal what is behind the door which the accused person has chosen, and therefore it allows us to speculate the outcome. The story is a little bit more involved than just an accused person choosing one of 2 doors, and this adds a necessary dimension to make it an interesting thought experiment. So feel free to read this short story. I won't go into the detail, I won't tell you what it's all about, but feel free to read this short story if you think that thought experiments are something that interests you, and this is very entertaining. The final example is Einstein's, I'm going to call it light box. Now, this is Einstein's light box. This is complex. This is a complicated example, so I won't go into too much detail. But Einstein liked to use thought experiments to explain his theories, and this light box was one of them. So, in the field of quantum mechanics, there is a principle which states that one can't know accurately both the position and momentum, which is the energy, of a particle. So Einstein drew a box which was suspended from the ceiling by a spring, and there was a pointer on the box and a gauge on the side. Now, inside the box there is a clock which controls this door, and at a specific time it will open the door and let things out. And so inside this box we've got a load of photons, which I will just denote by these dots. And so what we're saying is that at a specific time the clock will open the door and a photon will be released. And as the photon is released, this box, this light box, will become lighter by 1 photon because it's moving out, and so the box will rise a little bit. As it rises, this pointer will move up, and so we will have a new reading. We have the resting reading and we'll have a new reading which is a bit higher. And we can attach a weight to the bottom of the box and reset it. So because we know what the weight will be, we have the mass. And through Einstein's theory of special relativity, where E equals mc squared, because we know the mass and we know the velocity of light, we can measure the energy. And because we know the time at which the gate was opened, time t, we know the position of the photon when it had that specific energy, and therefore we can measure the time or the position and the momentum. And so the argument is that we can accurately tell both the position and the momentum of a particle. So this is, as I say, quite full on and quite complicated, but there was a counter argument which was put forward, which supported the original statement that you can't both know the momentum and the position of a particle, and therefore this thought experiment is very nice, but it didn't hold. Again, if you're interested, there are lots of materials out there on this subject, and so please feel free to read. I suppose this is the Laffer Curve is the budget option, the Lady and the Tiger is the mid-range option, and the luxury option is the Einstein Lightbox. And that's all for this video. Thank you all for watching. If you like this video, please like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one with another mental model. Thank you. Bye bye.